with all the COVID related issues, we are trying to keep everything as normal as we can, and hopefully we are trying to be a little bit entertaining while you're housebound or social distancing at least. So it's not that we don't think this is an important subject, it's just we are not experts in that subject. So we're going to do another subject that we're not experts in, and we're going to try to keep this to cars and racing. So appreciate you guys listening to our podcast. Thank you.
Hi.
Or hello.
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 Hello. How you doing?
How you doing?
From the great halls of their house, there are assembled three who hope to one day be the world's greatest driving heroes. Created from the cosmic legends of the universe comes our team captain, the Vision, Bill Fisher, their soon-to-be Wonder Woman, Vicki Fisher, and our Batman, the master of tools, gadgets, and all things mechanical, our mild-mannered, soon-to-be millionaire, Alan Danvers. Their mission, to fight injustice, share what is right and wrong, to get you out of your house and come out racing with us, and serve all mankind. They are the Garage Heroes and Training Team.
Welcome to the Garage Heroes and Training Podcast. I'm going to be your host for this episode, and my name is Bill. Who's hosting with me?
I'm Vicki.
And we have a special guest with us. We've been hounding her ever since we first met her. We've been hounding her on how to help us fix our car. Why is our car broken? Why is she so fast? The first person that we ever met was actually one of her teammates at the New Jersey race in 2017. It was Brendan. He comes walking over to us wearing his Alice in Wonderland costume, and we said, okay, we found people we can get along with, and
we found our tribe. Our tribe.
That's right. Well, that wasn't what we called it. We said, we found our group of idiots. This is good. So, and she had a rather disappointing season last year, finishing second, first. You got to pick it up a little bit, Amanda, here. So we have with us Amanda Tully. Welcome, Amanda.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
No problem. You figured you just had to surrender because he's just going to keep bothering me until I do. So
I'm like, you know what? Let me just do this now because I'll probably never have time again.
And it'll shut Bill up for once. So who knew that was possible? So
well, Amanda, that remains to be seen.
Well, yeah, that's true. I think the only chance we had at getting you on was after Vicki and you spent a little bit of time mingling in the hot tub with like 8,000 people. So
that was a record.
Yeah, I think so.
That was a record.
It was a record that should not be broken ever.
Probably not. At least we had Dawn in there, so
you did. There was bubbles everywhere.
Dawn was good antibacterial.
Yes.
Yeah, and well needed. I think the rule with the hot tub is get in early or don't get in at all. And,
that's right.
Yeah, or you don't fit.
Yeah, the more I'm looking back on it, the more I'm realizing it was probably a bad idea.
You just jumped in there with all your clothes on.
I know. Well, the best part was they said, "Is your wife the one who's dressed as Cher?" And I'm like, going,
Cher.
No, that wasn't what she was going for. But while she's in the hot tub, kind of looks like Cher. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, that night kind of went a little off the rails.
Yeah, just a little. So Amanda, I do horrible introductions. Just in case people don't know who you are, could you kind of describe yourself? Maybe family, professional, racing, whatever you feel like getting into. We'll take anything.
I'll just go with racing. So, because I would think that that's what most people would know. So I have Mome Rath Racing. Before that, it was Blue Tang Clan. And before that, it was New York City's Fastest Taxi, which was the worst theme ever. So this car is the second car. The taxi died of dysentery. So then a second car was built, and that's the current car. Right. And yeah.
So Amanda, how many years have you been racing?
So I started in Lemons in 2014. New Jersey Motorsports Park was my first race with Lemons. Before that, I had never raced at all. I did have a lot of track days with coaching with
Mhm.
my personal car. So we did that. So that was pretty cool. But that was my actual first experience with racing. Definitely clueless, definitely got a lot of help from a lot of people there, like brought the car there, had the wrong seats, didn't have the belts installed, didn't have a theme. But that was on Friday, and by Saturday morning we were racing. So
Standard newbie.
yeah. And then about, I don't know, not very far into the first day, we found out the limitations of a 200+ thousand mile dual mass flywheel.
Turned into more than 2 masses.
Yeah, and changed the clutch a bunch of times and couldn't understand why it would just explode almost immediately. And yeah, that's why.
Yeah. So that was a short-lived vehicle, I guess.
That's not why the vehicle died, but the vehicle died because there's an inherent problem with E36s. The subframes in the back will rip out of the car if you don't reinforce them.
Oh.
We didn't know that.
You do now.
So yeah, so the second car got that reinforced straight off the bat. The first car ripped too many things out of the, it was just bad. So a new car was built instead.
And that's the purple one we all know, right?
Yeah. So
how did you start racing? I mean, besides going to HB, you decided to just...
I don't know what that microphone is doing, but it's very bad.
Satan.
Is this Satan? Okay, let me try something.
No good.
She does this all the time. The good thing is that she comes on early, so we work
Okay.
through this. Oh,
All
wait.
right.
Now's the good thing. Okay, go ahead.
Okay. Now, okay. So how did you get into racing? I know you were discussing you were doing your HPDEs and decided, hey, this might be kind of fun. But then you decided to just lemons. Just
So this is Chris Rallo's fault. I don't know if anyone knows Chris Rallo, but I'm gonna blame him. So he was my driving instructor. And we were doing this HPDA day, and I had my E92 M3.
Yeah.
And there was this really weird car on the track, and it was painted all these different colors, and it had a baby doll on the top of it. And I'm like, what the hell? What is that? Like, what is this stupid car? And it was pretty fast. He's like, oh, that's a Lemons car. So we went out to eat after that track day, and a bunch of guys were there. So that's Rally Baby.
Oh, okay.
okay.
So we're talking to them about 24 Hours of Lemons, and they're like, oh yeah, it's an endurance race for $500 cars.
Yeah.
And
Yes.
I think that this is the best idea in the entire world. So I think that I should go build a Lemons car. So that is what I did. That track day, I think, was in September 2013. And I bought the car in November of 2013 and started stripping it.
The most expensive $500 you've ever spent.
Yeah, it has been. And then that car didn't even get its cage installed or even beginning to be installed until I think probably about 2.5 weeks before the race. So
that sounds about
very
right.
good.
That's not good planning.
Yeah.
It's lemons planning.
Yeah, it is, though. That's true.
Yeah.
So how did you end up picking your cars? Do you just have this thing for BMWs, or?
I work for a BMW dealership.
Oh, that
so
helps.
I figured that a BMW would be a good thing to do, because I don't know why that was a thought, but I'm like, I work for a BMW dealership, so I'll get a BMW. This will be a good thing. I had never worked on a foreign car, really, let alone a German car. So everything was weird. There was all these stupid sockets that I had to buy because you can't use normal sockets to work on a BMW. And yeah. So it was a pretty steep learning curve from when like I work on old stuff. I have street rods, I have old cars, and this was not what I had been used to. So it was a pretty steep learning curve. There wasn't a lot of thought behind it.
You just dive in, and
it was literally like, let's look on Craigslist and find a car. So that's what I did. And I didn't really know what an E36 was. Like I didn't know anything about the platforms or anything. And that's literally just the car that we found on Craigslist.
Not a bad find for going in blind, though.
We call that christened by fire.
Pretty much.
Yeah, there was no like, it wasn't like, oh yeah, we heard this is a really great platform for racing. And no, there was literally no thought behind it. The car, I think, that original car was like, I don't know, $1,000 or something like that. And then it still had so much stuff to sell off of it. Like it had these like fake race seats in there, which I realized you can't use for lemons at the track. Yeah.
But they look cool though.
They did, but they, no. So someone sold us their passenger seat and I don't know who that was.
That's how it started.
Yeah. That's what started.
That was your start. So I understand because, I fangirl,
You do.
So
She wants a t-shirt.
I do fangirl off of Amanda.
You
so
do? I should leave you two alone and just see what the podcast turns into.
So I do know that you have a history in mechanics. I mean, you were schooling for it, correct?
Yeah. So I went to Nashville Auto Diesel College, and that's where I learned a bunch of stuff there. And they had just started a high performance engine building program. So after I finished with the auto diesel college part, I stayed after and did their high performance engine building class.
Right.
But it was all like small block Chevy, Ford, Chrysler. Like it was basically like a NASCAR engine building class. It wasn't really anything except for like those 3 engines. So yeah, so I can build a small block really well.
Yeah. But none of that really translates over to improving on the vehicles that you're working on now? Or, I mean, with your own builds, have you had to do any kind of odd creating underneath the hood or just running stock?
Like the engine that's in the car now is a mishmash between 3 different engines.
Okay.
So I'm like, oh, well, this will work with this. And I just can make something out of whatever is lying around normally. So
that's awesome.
We need somebody like that. We just break things.
Yeah, it was literally, and trust me, I've broken things and broken things and broken things and broken things. And then eventually I've figured out which spares to bring. And
yeah, we're going to have to talk about that.
Yeah.
Because I don't like to pack a whole lot of extra.
She always complains.
Oh, no,
I don't want a whole back end sitting in my trailer.
I have a 35-foot enclosed trailer that is filled with everything.
I see you, Amanda. I'm with you.
I have some sort of idea what might break, but I don't know, so I have to bring all of it. And then people tend to like to ask me for parts. So I also have to bring parts for the other people because there was was it Thompson? No, it was
I bothered
Pittsburgh
you at New Hampshire.
Pittsburgh last year, someone needed a control arm.
Oh.
I had one extra control arm like for me, but I didn't want to give it up because it was too early in the weekend that if I had one of my drivers, hit something in the front wheel, it's going to bend a control arm and I'm going to need it.
Right.
So I didn't want to give it up. And the guy was like really trying to like guilt me into it. And I was like, no. I'm like, people pay too much to drive the car. I'm not going to leave them hanging because I gave my spare part away. So I bring now like 2 control arms for each side in the front. So if someone comes and asks me, I'll be like, okay, I have an extra control arm. So I try to do that and bring just all the tools that I can think of needing.
Bill's
You,
a happy
you
camper.
basically have a shop on wheels.
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff in there.
It's bigger than our trailer by 10 feet. And it's full.
Yeah.
Well, there's also living quarters in there, which is really good.
Work with
So
me,
what do you
Amanda.
guys like? Pull up with like a tractor trailer?
Pretty close.
It's a gooseneck.
Okay. Oh,
So
okay.
I have a dually with a gooseneck on there.
Okay. All right.
So that works.
I like it. That's my way to go. If I don't bring it, then it could break. If I bring it, it'll be fine.
Yeah. And I've like so many stupid things. I'm like, really? I was looking at that. Why didn't I bring that? So if now, like when I'm packing, if I look at something, I'm like, I have to bring that because if I don't bring that, that's going to break. And I looked at it.
Yep.
Yeah. Right.
So
Yep.
I've gotten pretty decent at figuring out what things I need to bring that might break.
Excellent.
So for your right now, the 2020 race season. Well, first of all, before we go into the 2020 race season, let's talk about the 2019 race season.
Yeah, she was a slacker. What happened to you at Pittsburgh? You came in second. I mean, come on.
Yeah.
What happened?
Yeah. Well,
That was your low spot. I need some
Pittsburgh,
consistency.
Let's see. So the first day went really well. I think we were in like fourth, third.
Yep.
Actually, no, it was fifth, fourth, third, second. We finished the day in second.
Mm-hmm.
The first time we went to this track, so I'm impressed. I'm like, that's awesome. I didn't think that we would get, second place in a track we never went to. That's pretty good. And we ran with 4 drivers, so that was cool. And Matt never drove the car, so he did really well. So everyone did really well. And then the second day, it's pouring out. Actually, oh no, I forgot about the I got screwed part. So the first day, we wear the tires out completely. They're bald. I don't have another set of these tires because that's never happened before.
I know where this story's going.
So I have rain tires. They're all season tires. I have all season tires on another set of wheels, but you can't use them if it's not raining. They're just going to be garbage. So I'm now searching for another set of Falcons. We find a team that has a set of Falcons. They're willing to let us have these tires if we fix their race car, which they said needed a clutch. I'm thinking, oh, well, it takes me by myself like 40 minutes to take the transmission out of my own car. How bad could this be?
Oh, I heard this.
So my teammate at the time and I decide to take on this repair because it's going to be so quick and easy. Not realizing that this transmission has never been out of this car, ever.
Oh, no.
Ever. So everything was seized and everything was breaking. And eventually the transmission came out of the car and it wasn't their clutch. It was their clutch, but their dual mass flywheel exploded.
Oh, no.
So we gave it to them and they found a welder and they actually welded the 2 pieces of their dual mass flywheel together so we could put it back in the car. So we put it back in the car, put a clutch in the car, sent the car on its way. It's like 2 a.m.
Right. That's what I'm thinking. It was almost an all-nighter.
It's like 2 a.m. I hear in the morning that like the only thing that we didn't do was like put the battery back in the car, I guess. And they hooked it up backwards, fried their alternator. So they couldn't race their car. They had to go to a parts house and get a new alternator because they hooked their battery up backwards. And eventually their car got on track. Our car wound up not needing their tires because it was raining cats and dogs. So I used my all-season tires. So we got the car into first place and
ended up on the lemons. I got screwed.
Yeah, so that's why we got the I Got Screwed award. I had the car into first in the first stint in the morning. I was like going back and forth with silly nannies like all morning. We had a lot of fun. Really good racing. I think the only car that passed us both was like Greg Biffle, which we weren't upset about.
Yeah, right.
He's driven 1 or 2 cars pretty well.
Yeah, so that was pretty cool. And Brandon got in the car. He did a great job. and I can't remember what happened, but he wound up with the black flag.
Yep.
Uh-oh.
Did the driver change. Next driver gets into the car, still in first, loses first immediately. So now the car's in second. Like, oh, car will get back into first. No. He spins
No.
out. That's that.
All the stress.
So that's the end of that. So the car came in second.
Oh.
So what are your plans on improving on this performance, Amanda? I mean, second, first. I mean, you've got to improve this year. We need some better performance. More consistency, I think, is required.
Yeah. So far, the car is still in the trailer.
Yeah.
So it's like marinating in there.
So
So I think wait, I'm not done. I have to pick on
Okay.
Amanda a little more. So in 4 races, your total finish spots total 5, which means you beat probably close to 500 different racers throughout all these 5 races, and you only lost to 1 person. That's a hell of a season. We barely beat 1 person.
Yeah, it was kind of weird. Like after the first time we won, like the second time we're like, all right, that was really awesome. And we weren't expecting to do it again. We were just doing everything the same way we were doing the last race. And then I'm like,
And you did.
holy shit, I think we're actually going to win again. And then that's kind of what happened at the next one too. We're like, okay.
I think we figured
Awesome.
something out here,
Like, yeah, I think we figured something out. So
You know how when you set a world record and you have to go whatever speed it is in one direction, turn around, and you have to do it again, going the other way? You've proven you can win. I think it's official.
yeah, it took a lot of time.
Oh, for sure. Oh, we're not making this
We got
seem
there.
easy, or we're our goal is to aim for, we want to finish in dead middle.
Yeah.
So, and we don't even do that. So, I mean, we're not even trying for first yet.
I mean, the first goal that I had is I'm like, I just want to cross the finish line. And the
Exactly.
first time that happened, I was like, oh my God, the car is crossing the finish line under its own power. And I was so impressed.
Yeah, we
So
had
that was
help.
the original goal.
So
Yep.
do you feel like your HPDE training has helped you a lot? Or, I mean, you're driving your teammate, I believe, is an instructor too?
No, Jamie is my only like full-time teammate right now, and he's not an instructor, but he has a lot of HPD training. I think he did a Skip Barber school or something like that. He did one of
Okay.
those schools.
Mhm.
Both of us have done motorcycle track days as well.
Wow.
Motorcycle track days?
Yeah,
Okay.
not racing motorcycles, but motorcycle track days. So I did that before I even started with the HPDE days in the car.
Mm-hmm.
Did that teach you anything different?
Well, on a motorcycle, if you crash,
Bad is really bad.
Yeah, a
be
little
a
bit, yeah.
detriment to your health. So you try to really hard to not do that. So you have to, be smooth and, do the right thing. And that kind of transfers to a car. You feel a little safer because now you have this cage around you. So you're like, oh, okay, this is kind of nice.
There's a
But,
few people I wish would drive like they were on a motorcycle. I'm just saying. I'm not saying who. There's a couple.
Yeah. So that's definitely the whole package has helped. And I mean, Chris Rallo has been a really great coach. He helped me a lot. Even with the Lemons team, like he's driven the Lemons car a couple of times, and he's been, really helpful as far as making the team work and what to do to prep and stuff like that. So he helped a lot as well. And then I just took as much information as I could from as many people as I could to, help along the way.
Mm-hmm. Oh, good. So how are you spending your 2020? I mean, I was going to ask, how was the upcoming race season going? But, everybody's pretty much simmed now.
Yeah.
And,
So my first Lemons I race was
Spectacular.
interesting. I
love
got booted off the server in practice.
no.
So I'm like, all right.
Womp womp.
So I'm trying to get back in the race, and I get back in the race. I'm like, okay. and I get like half a lap around or something like that, or maybe like maybe not even 2 laps. And it's like, okay, grid. It would not let me grade. Like click, 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 click.
Did you get stuck in this pit? Because that happened to me my first race.
Yes. So now I'm in the pit.
I'm like, I didn't know. Sorry.
So I'm in the pit, and there's no one else in the pit. I'm the only car in the pit. And then, like, I see the pace car come in and park. I'm like, oh, that's great. That's fantastic. And I'm watching all the cars go by. And then, like, it counts down. Like, there's a timer, and it's counting down for when you can go. And it counts down to 0.
Right.
But, like, the little man is still holding that stop stick thing. So I'm like.
The brake thing?
Yeah, the brake thing. So I was like, do I not go? But it wasn't doing any, like, it wasn't counting anything. So I was like, okay. So I go, and like no explosions are happening. So I'm like, okay, I think it's okay. And I pull out and I see cars coming. I'm like, all right, I'm gonna just go last. This is what I should be doing. Like, I couldn't figure out how to grid or whatever, wouldn't let me. So I'm gonna wait for all the cars. So I wait for most of the cars. 2 of them like crashed coming down the hill. So I'm like, all right, I'm not waiting for them. And then I went. And then apparently I took out mental.
Yep.
I did not know I did that until he told me. And then I watched it and said, oh, yeah. iRacing is hard. I don't have 3 screens. I can't see out of the side of my car. Mm-hmm. So sometimes I pass people and I'm like,
Am I by?
We were doing the Oculus so we can actually turn and look, but the motion sickness for me was just too much.
I tried doing that, and I was nauseous almost immediately. I get so nauseous at pit race, I actually take Dramamine.
Oh, do you?
Yeah. That microphone is a menace.
Again?
Yes.
Yeah.
We're going to have to get a new one, honey.
Hey, just in case you were curious, if you look down, like 4 more questions, we're going to have a segment on iRacing. Just a thought.
Okay.
Okay.
No problem.
It's better.
Sorry. Okay.
No worries.
Also, so that is our 2020 race.
That is our 2020.
Far. But Amanda's got a super secret car that we might be able to talk about in a super secret way.
Well, some people were saying some stuff on iRacing. I don't know if you caught that.
I did, but I'm not going public unless it's whatever you want to talk about.
Yeah, the only thing that I'm going to do is confirm what they said.
Oh, okay. Nice.
A new car.
I have a old car.
A new old car, though.
Yeah, it's not a new old car. It's my father's car.
Wow.
It's been sitting for so long. He has agreed to let it have life again as a Lemons car because he doesn't figure he's probably going to get to it to let it do anything else.
Right.
That should be fun.
So it was sitting for 25 plus years.
Well, there you go. There's a start
so
on the guess.
It now runs, and it can move and stop under its own power. So
nice.
It's doing stuff.
So there's a chance we can pass you this year, maybe.
If you cannot pass that car, yeah, it's a very large car.
I think the only time we passed you were parking your car, or it was just parked. That was the only time.
So what other builds do you have going on in your space below you?
I don't have anything that I'm like building. I have a 32 Ford, which the engine is half apart right now.
Mm-hmm.
And
how is that working on? Trying to find what you need. Do you have to build stuff, or do you have to?
No, it's a street rod. It's
okay.
Yeah, it's been modified.
Right.
It's not. I don't have anything that's an antique. Everything's been modified. I have that. I have a 64 Oldsmobile.
That's awesome.
I have like a diesel Suburban. I have a bunch of stuff, but I don't have any like really builds.
Okay.
Besides the
Just whatever you're working on in your Rona workout.
Yeah.
Just with you and
Well,
Rona.
I mean, before the coronavirus, my Oldsmobile and the surprise car both didn't run, and now they both do, so that's good. The Roadster will run as soon as I get the correct parts, because I was working on that before and went to open the gasket kit to put the oil pan back on, and it's for a big block, and I have a small block, so that will.
These things happen.
Yeah.
So, Amanda, you've raced in Lemons. You've done your HPDEs. Have you raced anywhere else? Have you done any more training besides?
I haven't. I've only raced in Lemons.
Oh, well, you're doing okay. I think, you know. Well,
I've raced in Lemons and iRacing Lemons. I haven't even tried another race series in iRacing. I've only done Lemons.
Well, Vicki was scared. Okay, so we can do this real fast. Vicki was, I don't know if scared, intimidated, nervous about doing the iRacing, because she felt like she wasn't going to perform up to the level of all the other iRacers. And I was just looking at her with this look on my face going, oh, you have no idea. You have no idea.
It's kind of intimidating, because now it's like there's lots of people just like looking at like you doing it, and they know how you drive in real life, and then so now like I feel like they're judging you. You know what I mean? So at first I was like, I don't know if I want to do this, because iRacing is very hard. It's very, very difficult. It's not the same as a regular car.
It's different. It's way different.
There's a very, very, very steep learning curve with iRacing.
Oh, is there for you?
Huh?
For all of us, yeah.
For everybody.
Really is.
Yeah.
Yeah, it feels like it's any little wrong move and you're off the track.
Yeah, any little wrong in the car is like there's flipping and flying, and I'm like, what did I even do?
I flipped on the pit. I actually rolled the car in pit lane.
I've not done that.
No idea. Well, you know, it's tough to perform at this level, Amanda. You know,
I've not done that, but yeah, I've like flipped cars. I'm like, how? Or the car just starts skidding.
Yep.
For apparently no reason, and just go do 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 do. I'm like, oh.
So let's do a little iRacing versus real racing. You've pretty much, you know, I mean, your performance, you know, while it could have been better last year, you know, I mean, second place, come on, let's be real. So it looks like in the meat world you have conquered a bit of the racing, but in iRacing it is a simulation, but the simulation is similar but not the same. So what are you finding that are either the biggest things that you're seeing that are different, or the biggest frustrations, or the
not being able to see out of the sides of the car without the 3 screens thing is definitely difficult, because I used to go to Crimson Simulation. It was in Connecticut. And now they moved to North Carolina. So I've done sims before, not like an official race or anything like that, but we would, you know, tool around on there. And we'd spend hours up there. It was fun. So I did do that. And I also found that it was like definitely much different than driving a real car and stuff like that. But they had these really beautiful rigs with 3 screens. And I feel like that peripheral vision like was really helpful.
Right.
So now I'm using my television in my living room, and my rig is not even really in front of it. It's like off to the left a little bit. So that's probably not very helpful, but I don't have room to move it over.
You know, there's a quick button that you could set.
There is. So I have those buttons set up so I can quick look over, and my brain doesn't do that. It doesn't no. That's not helpful.
So someone said there's a button you can look left and look right, but then there's also a setting where it'll actually be like your head turns, so you get a scan, and then it comes back. I didn't find that yet, but
my brain doesn't work that way.
Doesn't like it.
Not happening. No, I'm still looking this way. I'm not turning my head, and that just does not work for me.
So you might as well have a Hans on it when you're sim racing.
I may as well have blinders on like a horse.
Yeah.
And it's like, all right, if I pass someone, I have to hope that I made it. Like,
You
because sometimes I'm like, I think they're still there. I did it in the second iRace that I did with Lemons. It wasn't the C race. It was a B. I think it was like 2B.
Right.
And there was almost no one in the race. There were 7 people in the race. I was the only Class A car. So I'm like, oh, I could probably win this race because
I can podium in my class.
right? Like, so I go to pass the car that's leading, and I couldn't. I'm like, I don't know if I'm past him, and I don't want to take him out because he's leading.
Right.
That would be stupid. I would take both of us out. Like, who wants to do that? And then, of course, my car goes off the edge and spins. I didn't crash into him, but I was like, oh my goodness.
Oh, geez.
Like 3 p.m. talks about like wiener stepping. And I was like, yeah, that's that.
I got that. Yeah.
So I wound up catching back up to him and passing them and stuff like that. But it's challenging to not be able to see out of the sides of the car. So I find that's a challenge. It's just, you can't feel the car like in the seat of your pants. You don't have that. So.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I think that's the biggest thing is I'm not very good at translating the noise of the skid or the little rumble that you feel when you're skidding as opposed to a real car when I'm like, oh, okay, we're getting close to the edge and all right, it's going to step.
I'm getting used to just feeling the car through the feedback in the steering wheel.
Right.
I'm getting used to that a little bit more, but still
the margin for error is much smaller, I see.
Yeah. But if anyone is like pretty decent at racing in real life and goes on iRacing and stinks at it, I would just want to say to them, like, don't feel bad. It's really not the same.
Yeah. I think the first time I ever got into the sim, into a race with multiple people in the race, I think Chris Abbott was racing, and he's a very good driver.
Yeah.
And I think he flipped the car like 3 times during the race, and it was just, I felt a whole lot better. Not that I wished Chris to do poorly, but I was like, okay, if Chris is having trouble, then it's not just me.
Yeah, no, I was in a session with Everyone Racers, and I could tell that he was really struggling, and I'm like, all right, I really don't feel bad because I know he's a good driver, and like,
it's not just me.
It's not just me. It's very, very difficult.
It is. It's almost, I could think the way I put it to somebody was like, it's very simulator-like, but it's almost like it's a visual simulation, but I'm almost like half of my senses aren't there because I can't feel anything. I can't really see as well. And, and the wind, you don't feel the wind or anything. So it's.
Yeah, no, it's just I mean, for what we have, it's cool because you can still, like, Discord is really cool also because you can sit there and you can talk to your friends, and so it gives you reasons to talk to people that you normally probably wouldn't talk to until, you actually see them at a race. So it's definitely been great. It's gotten everybody together.
Yeah, for sure.
A lot of people anyway. There's a lot of people behind the scenes making sure others wind up getting computers, so that's awesome.
This is true. I'm not selling any car because of my racing, though, that's for sure.
Yeah. But there's quite a few people that I know of, and other people have said that like they hooked them up with a computer for almost nothing, so that's really, really awesome. Yeah. I don't want to say any names because I don't want them to get like their blown up. She said I got a free computer.
No. But it's I mean, the one thing that I know that I get the most out of is, I've got a race or an HPD coming up at a track I've never been to, and I can actually go and iRace that track and not feel like going over a hill. Oh wait, does this go left or right? I'll actually know.
Yeah.
Even if I'm not going to be very good at the racing on that track, but I'll have the track down.
I mean, that's what I even did with, that's how I knew I was going to get sick on Pit Race. I was watching the video that they had, and there's a guy in a Porsche, and he's going around the track, and he's explaining each turn to you. and I was getting nauseous watching that video. So videos are really helpful. Sim racing, it's definitely helpful to know the layout of the track. You know where the pit road is, and like there's some definitely great features. The first time I went to a simulator, they're like, well, what track do you want to do that you know of that we have? And I did New Hampshire.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, I am very, very confident in New Hampshire. I've raced there many times, and I could not get around that track at all.
Wow.
On the sim.
Wow.
It was not the same at all.
No, it's not.
It's not.
So Amanda, I have to embarrass one of your fangirls here. I asked Vicki about her first lap at New Hampshire.
My first lap at New Hampshire. Oh, was that Splashgate?
No. So Vicki's first lap at New Hampshire, we're there for Friday practice because we're a new team. It's our first season. We've never been to New Hampshire. So Vicki's coming out of turn 1, 2, going into turn 3, and she turned turn 3 into a straightaway.
Well,
right
the gates were open. I had no idea. Never been on the track before. Didn't even see the track.
Nope.
And listen, this is why. This is why you really need to have those test track days. Because it was test track. It wasn't the
So her first lap was like 37 seconds. Fastest lap of the
wow,
weekend.
That was
by far.
really fast.
She's like, this is the shortest track ever.
Well, you got to understand, that was the first time we've ever been to that track. And it looks really strange to go up into like this gate. It's almost like
very weird. The first time I went to that track, I was kind of like, all right, this is a little weird.
Got 2 tracks.
And then Thompson is kind of like that too. There's just a lot of stuff going on because the surface changes and you're going. So once I did New Hampshire and I went to Thompson, I was like, oh, okay, it's kind of like that, and then you can figure it out more easily. But
it's almost like they kind of said, hey, let's do an add-on, and we're just going to put it here.
Because you're going on and off. I mean, there's when I used to do the motorcycle track days, that's how Pocono East was.
Yes.
Pocono East used to go into the tri-oval, and you were off of it. They redesigned it so they can run East and they can run the tri-oval at the same time. So now East is all in the infield, but it used to go out and then back in. Right. So I was like kind of used to that, but yeah, New Hampshire is a little bit weird the first time you go around that track.
Yeah.
I can see how that could happen.
In Vicki's case, it was the second time she went around. It was a little weird. The first time was, just like NASCAR.
And of course, this last year in New Hampshire, when they almost had to pull all of us and put us into the pit area because there was so much contact.
You are the devil.
I am so sorry.
You're fine.
Okay, like that?
Yes.
Okay, good.
That's so much better.
Okay. I can. No. You know what? I can't hear it when it does that. So
you know what I think?
Go, wow,
you know what I think?
Have you seen me going? Oh.
You know what I just figured out? It's your headphones, because it just did it again. It's going back and forth between your headphone and the microphone. It's switching. Because it just did it when you took the microphone out. It did it after you did that, so it can't be the microphone.
Oh.
So you just need a new pair of headphones.
Okay.
All right, we're gonna have you in the echo chamber for a little bit. Okay.
All right.
So, Amanda, you've dominated last year. You decided to show everybody what's possible. Not for our team, but everybody else what's possible. If you were to look back on what you've learned through your years, and what would you say would be things that people should try to do or try not to do in order to improve, perhaps not come second, first, but improve their team and get a little better?
You should check your car and recheck your car. I spend a lot of time checking that car to make sure things aren't broken. So, like, just for play and stuff, and just nut and bolt the car and use a paint marker and
paint marker to mark the position of the nuts and bolts relative to each other.
Yeah. So if you're just eyeballing it, you can see if something's moved. I mean, you should check it anyway physically, but
right.
It'll be like, oh, that wasn't like that. And just check stuff for play and.
Mm-hmm. And then I
do that, like, I do that when the car comes home from the track. I do that before the car goes to the track. I do that when I'm at the track. I do that after practice. Like, I just keep checking it and checking it.
So is there a reason that led you to be checking it so much?
Yeah, because things change. Like, you can literally go out and practice and everything is great. But I've caught stuff that, like, I'll see like a drip coming out of the radiator and it's like one drip, but you know, if you don't do something about that and you try to race that car for 9 hours the next day, that's not going to be a drip anymore.
It's going to be way more than a drip.
That could end your, that could end your day. If someone's not looking at the gauges, that could end your engine.
Yep.
So anytime the car comes back, I check it. So I had a teammate that worked for a professional team that helped in some of those habits, which is good.
Mm-hmm.
So anyone that I've interacted with, if they have any sort of good habits, I'll, keep utilizing, those good habits and just keep learning and going.
So does it seem like you learned more about off the track stuff than driving that's helped you?
Driving, I have to driving, I have gone through so many teammates that don't want to listen and want to.
Besides Brendan?
He was supposed to race with me at Pittsburgh.
Really?
Yeah.
He's a good guy. In spite of his Cinderella.
It was supposed to be me, him, and Jamie. So.
Oh, that'd be fun.
Yeah. So Brandon is he's not on there every single race, but he's welcome on my team.
You need to get Kelly
whenever
out.
He wants to. Yeah, we need to get Kelly out. But yeah. So as far as like the driving, if someone catches up to you,
let them go.
Let them go.
Yep.
Keep a nice, consistent line and let them go. They caught up to you. That means they're faster than you.
But nobody's faster than me.
Yeah. So.
Says everyone.
You can only drive as fast as you're comfortable driving for, a said period of time. If someone's caught up to you, let them go. There's so many different times that someone has caught up to me. I've let them go. And then they, blow the next turn and they're off the track anyway, or their car blows up, whatever. Like, it's not that important. Just go.
Right.
We'll catch you next time.
Yeah. As far as.
So that's the key for newbies.
No, that's the key for like anybody. Like, just don't. Why are you gonna play hero? Like, why?
Right.
Why are you gonna block that person? That does nobody any good.
But I'm paying my mortgage with all my racing winnings.
Right. Yeah, no, that doesn't do anybody any good. Oh, it's a team habit.
Mm-hmm.
It seemed as though, like, as we were getting better, certain people, if you let them know what position they were in, they get all flustered. They would panic. Oh, I'm in 5th place. Oh my God. And then they would start driving differently. They would start acting weird and getting nervous, and they would do stuff that they normally wouldn't do because they were, too excited or nervous if they were in whatever place. and they would go off the track or get a black flag or whatever. So I made it a rule that no one can say what position the car is in. Just drive the car.
So we had an earlier guest who actually took out the lap timer from his car.
I will never have a lap timer in my car. Ever, ever, ever. I don't have this problem anymore. I would be okay with the lap timer in the car now, but there were drivers that used to drive my car that they would constantly be on the radio. What's my fast lap? What's my fast lap? What's my fast lap? And they would go right off the track, get a black flag. Like, what are you trying to do?
I got to get my scout that's out in the paddock is looking for me.
And then they would brag and brag and brag. Oh, I got the fast lap. Like, it cost you like 20 minutes. So that's the slowest lap of anybody.
Exactly.
Like, what are you doing?
We're toying with the idea of pulling our lap timers out.
Yeah, in iRacing, I find that it's very helpful because I can figure out, that turn, 'cause sometimes you can't feel if it's faster or not. Like, you might think it's faster, but it's not. So I find that data is very, very helpful. But in my own car, with everything that's going on in a Lemons race, I don't think that it's a great idea to have a lap timer in the car.
You know, the fastest lap for the weekend is usually the person who's driving who got lucky when nobody was in their way for one whole lap. Not you did anything spectacular, you know.
Yeah, it doesn't. I am not a proponent of celebrating like the person on the team that got the fast lap. Yay! No, I don't care. I'm not impressed.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't help you win doesn't help you win the weekend.
No, it doesn't. It really doesn't. I got so turned off from fast lap like so early on, like years ago, because it never led to anything good. So
the thing that we keep track of, which I don't know if I publicize it enough with our team, is I keep track of the you pull out all the yellow flags and the incident flags where you can't go full, and then I keep track of who's got the most consistent lap. I can get all statistical geeky, and that's the person that we like to see, and the person who's got the tightest, their laps are the closest consistently over and over and over throughout the weekend. That's the one that I always think had the best weekend.
Yeah, I don't really
I'm a geek,
look at that stuff.
I know. It's just I have nothing else to do in
Bill's
Excel.
the data guy.
Yeah. I've
actually had someone say, they're like, oh, do you mind if we pick apart your laps? And they put it on a spreadsheet, and they told me, that there was a lot of good data on there. They took out all the yellow flags, same type of thing, and it had a lot of good data. But
how do you
as long as
But was it helpful?
Everyone was so similar. It was like, okay, like it just confirmed like I have the right people on my team.
Right.
So, but to build a team, that's probably the hardest thing to do in Lemons.
It is. I think, we love all our team, but we're not exactly diversified in our skill sets. So we have a great time, but we're not there, complimenting each other saying, well, I'm mechanic number 2. And, we have a person who knows mechanical, and the rest of us just sit there and struggle and say, now left was tight, right? No, wait. So
no,
working on it.
Yeah, it's most of the time it's Jamie and I, and we each do our own thing and it works, and sometimes someone else will tag along to help out. My friend Kenny came along last time, so he was helping out. So other teams help, like if I have a problem or I need a part or whatever, I know who has what car and who's going to help me. So the Folgers guys have helped me since I think the very first race. So they're super helpful.
We made it through one race without relying on the Folgers guys, but they saved our bacon in New Hampshire. So
yeah. Brandon found that, right?
Yeah.
The kill switch thing.
Yeah, kill switch was our problem. Turned out that the whole kill switch was bad. So we had to replace it. That's what we've been working on.
Okay.
It was fun.
We had to buy a kill switch in New Hampshire one year. But it wasn't the kill switch. I can't remember what the heck the problem was. But now I have a spare one.
Yeah, we have spares now too.
Everything.
Exactly. See, spares, Vicki. Spares. Say it. Say
Spares.
spares.
I know. We'll need to get a bigger trailer.
Spares are good.
Yeah. Every time I got burnt on something, I'm like, oh, I'm bringing that next time. I'm bringing that next time. And then now I have so much stuff. I'm like, oh.
Yeah. Is it just a big old pile in your trailer?
It's somewhat organized. I have bins. And then some stuff just lives in the car.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Yeah. I think the one thing I can say is if it's in there, let Amanda go find it because it's organized Amanda's way. Don't mess with it.
Yeah, like I know where it is, but if someone was like, "Can I go in your trailer and get this?" I'd be like,
No.
"That's probably not what you should do."
You won't find anything else.
It's not that she has a problem with you doing it for yourself. It's that you just won't find it.
Yeah, you will never find it. I did last year. Like I took every single thing out of the car trailer. I wrote everything down that's in there. But then you do one race, and then
It's
half
all
the
over.
stuff is in the garage, and half the stuff is out of the garage. I wish I had like a set of stuff for the house and a set of stuff for the car, and I don't have
Right.
that would be
Amanda,
ideal.
you and I, we're right there, right there.
There's always something like I'm like, oh, I need that. Like that I was looking for needle nose vice grips before, and I'm like, they're somewhere. I still don't know where they are. They're somewhere.
You can come to our paddock. And just in case you didn't know, I know that we haven't bonded as well as we probably should. I have an issue with if I go to a race, I have to have 12 tires for each car. So if you need tires for your E36,
12 tires for each car.
I know a guy.
12
That
tires
is-
for each car.
That is a lot of tires.
It is. I didn't say I was smart. I just said I have this thing.
So let me ask you,
Sure.
in all of the races that you've done,
Yes.
what is the maximum amount of tires that you've actually needed for one car?
8. But
So
I
the
had
number 12.
but I have an extra in case somebody gets a flat tire, in case 2 of them are dry and 1 of them are wet. So I've got 2 full dry and 1 wet set. So that's the plan. And then
Yeah. Well, that was the plan to go to Pittsburgh because I'm like, I'm not getting screwed with tires. So I got another set of wheels and I had tires and wheels and I had everything and I bought everything so far in advance and then coronavirus.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
With you.
So now I have 2 brand new sets of old style Falcons, the 615 plus.
Mm-hmm.
When I heard people like the new style because it lasts longer, but I don't know if that's true or not.
We're RS4 fans, big fans.
I'm not a fan.
Okay. Everybody likes what they like.
I think I tried them once.
Were they RS3s or RS4s?
RS4s.
Okay. We are very happy with them, both in terms of wear and consistency. They're not the super fastest first lap, but they seem to last forever. And the same pace.
These are, I really like the 615s, not the plus.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
And the plus just wears so much faster, but I do feel like they're grippier. The older Dunlops were okay, but they were too expensive. So I'm like, I'm not getting into running these things.
Right.
And then the RS4s, I can't remember why I didn't like them, but nobody liked them. Like everyone was like, get those things off of there. So I'm like, oh. I didn't like them. I can't remember why. I think we felt they were just greasy or something. We just didn't like them.
Might be worth a retry. And all the people we know, they really, really like them. But
yeah,
everybody tries everything. So
Yeah.
I just feel like it's just such like bringing a new tire to the track at this point. It's like such a high risk because it's a big deal if you hate them.
right, it is.
It's not like you can take them off and be like, oh, halfway through Saturday, like, these tires suck. Let me go buy another set.
Yeah. Yeah, we're still the only thing stopping me from having my full set for the A36 is I got to find some more DS2 rims. Once I get some of those, I'll be good.
Yeah.
Alan seems to like turning them into clover leaves, but that's just
Yeah,
us.
that's true.
I have the most annoying wheel issue ever. I got a set of wheels from some kid on Facebook.
Yep.
And they are 8.5 by 17s. And they were like so cheap.
Ooh, tell me more.
It took, you cannot find them anywhere else. They look like the BMW BBS wheels, but they're not. They're made out of junk. They're very heavy, whatever, but that's the tire that's on the car, and that's everything's around, like designed around this tire, around this wheel. You can't, I have a wheel monolith because I was trying to find these wheels and I cannot find these wheels. So I actually had to buy another set of these stupid wheels because I can't find those wheels anywhere. They're like the same size as a Z3.
Mm-hmm.
And like the back wheels on an E36 M3.
Right. Yep.
Like they're unobtainium.
Yep. That's the ones we've been looking for. I've got 8 DS2s of the size I want, and then I've got 2 sets of 3 other wheels that just aren't the same, but we're getting there. We'll find them.
And these wheels have been bent, cracked, fixed. Fixed. Jamie has a wheel fix place. Yes.
I might need to send him our card.
So that's very helpful. He made our wheels, like he powder coated them. He made them all pretty in his shop. You'll see them if we ever go racing again.
I think one of our wheels is far, far, far beyond repair. It is.
There was one, I was balancing it, and it was like, ugh. It was bad.
This one looks.
It was really, really bad.
This one's the rim itself is torn like an inch, like the metal's torn. And then it's got like 4 loops on it, like a clover leaf. It's just, it's not pretty.
That's not ideal.
No. Alan said send it though, so we did.
Are you guys gonna go practice? Are you gonna do this team practice thing?
Soon. I don't know what Vicky's doing. I think
it starts at 8:30.
Oh, okay. Well, we got a couple of quick questions, and then we're good to go if you got time.
Very good. So, okay, we're going to go into Fast and Furious now. Fast and Furious story time. We're going to get to know Amanda. So, Amanda, what was your very first car?
Dodge Shadow.
Ooh, apologies.
And she just squished-faced.
So, I had that car for like a minute. And I promptly wrapped it around a tree, like it was like a half a donut. It was really wrapped around a tree. Yeah, that was my first car. I didn't even get the license with the photo on it yet.
Mm-hmm. Oh, wow.
Whoops.
Yeah, I didn't even have the license with a photo on it yet, and the car was dead.
Ugh.
My second car was a Cutlass Supreme.
Ooh, what year?
And I had that forever.
What year?
That was an 84.
Oh, I had a 79. 3 on the floor, baby. But ugly. Anyway, what is one thing that no one knows about you that would surprise them?
That's like one of those questions they ask like when they have like consultants come into work.
I know. So you should have an answer by now.
Yeah, I never know what to say because anything I say, they're like, really? I don't know. I go offshore tuna fishing. I guess that's random.
That's kind of fun.
But I think a lot of people know that about me. So
that's awesome. Tuna fishing. Who knew?
Yeah. So I do that.
All right. Do you have a favorite race driver?
I really don't.
Okay.
Is that weird? I really don't.
Well, I mean, weird would be something like me. That would be fun. That would be.
Yeah. No, I really don't have a favorite driver. Like I used to love Dale Earnhardt Sr.
There you go.
I got to see him win twice.
Oh, wow.
And after he passed, I really hadn't watched NASCAR since. And the most recent race I went to was the Daytona 500. I went with Donnie, and before that, the last race that I saw was Dale Sr. won.
Oh, nice.
That's the only driver that I like really, really, loved.
Awesome.
All right. How about front wheel, rear wheel, four wheel, or doesn't matter to you?
Rear wheel.
Okay.
It's that
The
BMW
last
coming out.
front wheel drive car that I owned was a 2000 Oldsmobile Alero.
Ooh,
How
that's a good reason to be the last one. I
many
guess.
cars have you owned?
I have no idea.
Several.
I can't answer that question. I have no clue.
The correct answer is always several. Just walk away.
I can't answer that question. Like,
All right. How about
a lot.
what's that one car that got away?
I really like that E92 M3. I'm really sad that I got rid of that car.
It's a nice car.
Okay.
All right. So if you get stranded on a desert island that miraculously has not only street, but a racetrack, what 4 or 5 cars would be the dream cars that you'd wish were on this island with you?
If I just had an island with race cars, oh, my bird's going to start screaming.
That's okay.
Bird.
It's better than Vicki sounding like Satan. So
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a little odd. That microphone does it. The microphone does make you sound like you're Satan.
it's not
I would
the
want
microphone.
I would just want my E36 M3, and
That's
I
it?
would kind of like the E92, but like a more racier version.
Ooh, that would be fun.
Yeah,
Okay.
I think that would be cool.
So since you're there and you've got your chance to build your dream race car, what would it start from? Would it be that 92?
Yeah, I would like to have that. That would be cool. I would never do it in real life because it would cost too much money. But
Well, I mean,
if there's like a plethora of like money and car parts on this island, then
this island has food, car parts, anything you need.
I would be happy with that car.
All right,
It would
very
be good.
well. Awesome.
All right. If you could drive, only drive and race cars from one decade in the past, what decade would you choose?
That's hard because the 90s sucked. But my car is a 94.
True.
It's really hard. I don't know. I'm torn.
You're torn between, you can pick 2. You can have 2 decades.
I would go to the same stupid cars. I would. And that
She's
car
a
was
woman who knows what she likes.
2000 and what year was that car?
7, 8, something like that.
2008?
Yeah.
The 90s sucked.
Yeah.
I
The
don't know.
cars were just really bad.
They were.
What about the 70s?
They were also really bad because that's when they started to have emission stuff.
Really?
So they would have like 70s Cadillac, like 500 engine with all that emissions and like no compression and just like gigantic
454 cubic inches putting out 150 horsepower
exactly.
to the floor.
It's like, what are you doing? Smog heads. You're like, smog
right.
pumps. No.
Luckily, they made up for it in gas mileage.
Yeah, right? It's like, what? Like, wow.
6 gallons to the mile. Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay.
I have a feeling I know what the answer to this one's going to be, and Vicki hates this question, so I do it every time. Jeremy, Hammond, May, Chris, Matt, other.
What?
Exactly. That was the question. It's the Top Gear host. It's one of those stupid things. All right, Vic. Another person who hates my question. Go ahead.
Mm-hmm.
I like the Top Gear, like the old stuff. Like the new one, I like started watching it and I was like,
Okay, so maybe it's a Jeremy, a May, or a Hammond. Okay. All right, Vic.
So where would your ultimate road trip be from and to, and in what car?
E92.
I've driven all over the place, so I think I would want to go on like Route 66 just because it's a thing.
Lemons Rally.
But I would take my Roadster, even though that is the most uncomfortable car in the entire world to drive.
Especially
Very
through the desert.
uncomfortable.
Mm-hmm. Well, speaking of the rally you just mentioned, have you done a rally?
I have not. I get very limited free time.
Okay.
So if I have like 2 weeks all year I can use, I'm probably not going to use one of them for a Lemons rally. I'm sorry.
It took us more than 6 months to get her for an hour, and you wanted to go for a rally.
I'm just checking.
So many people have asked. They're like, "Oh, come on the rally, come on the rally." I'm like,
I'm sure it's fun.
Sorry, I'm sure it's fun, but no.
Exactly. All right. Do you have a favorite movie car or favorite car movie? Could be TV too. We're accepting all answers.
Car movie.
Or a car from
Chitty Chitty Bang Bang comes to mind.
There we go. That's a new one. We like that. I used to watch that.
I don't know why that just popped into my head, but I really liked that movie.
I haven't seen it in a long time.
Yeah, me neither.
What car would you love to switch into that you're currently racing against, and at what racetrack? I mean, you've won every race, so I don't know if anybody would want that.
I just like my car. My car is really comfortable. I like my seat in my car. I'm just very happy in there. I could drive it forever.
Maybe you can take your seat or similar to that seat and use it for iRacing.
Right? Because this seat is horrible.
It is. It's got that forward tilt. It's killing me.
That isn't my problem because I'm vertically challenged. It's the seat, the bottom. It makes your butt fall asleep like almost immediately. I hate it.
Yep. Okay, last one. What is your favorite racetrack so far?
People always ask me that, and they don't like my answer. And I don't have one answer. I have two answers. I really like Thompson, and I really like New Hampshire. And I feel like everyone hates New Hampshire or Thompson, or the combination of both.
I think it's because my issue with the both of those actually is that they're not consistent. Those transitions. If those transitions were smoother,
they're not. There's ruts and there's walls, and I love both of those tracks so much. I think New Hampshire. I think I like a little bit more. Actually,
I could see that. All right. So, Amanda, is there any way for people to follow along and see if you're able to beat your 2-1-1-1 season this year?
I don't know if we ever get back to the track. Hopefully we do well, but that will remain to be seen. You're
undefeated so far. And it's, what is it? We're in the middle. We're starting in May. I mean, you haven't lost a race yet.
Virtually, I have.
Yes, I understand. Okay.
Yeah. But we'll see. We'll see how we do.
We will. Hopefully we will see soon. I would love to be back on the track and to be great to see all our friends and get out there and have some fun.
Kind of missing it.
Yeah, me too. I miss it a lot. I miss everyone.
It's like right now we're to the point where it's like, well, I could take that apart and fix it, but what if we race really soon? Do I have time?
Yeah, I don't know. I really feel like New Jersey isn't going to happen. It's just too soon. They're not going to let that many people get together like that. I just feel like I don't feel like they're going to do it.
But
maybe they'll allow a track day to happen, but an event like that with.
But we need to get to wash that lightning track out of our mouth. I mean, give me some Thunderbolt.
I don't like that track, and I can't believe that's the first race that we won was there out of all places.
We've only been there once, and we had quite the debacle at that one. So
I just don't love that track.
No, it's not fun.
Don't like it. I don't like it.
I get them confused. That's the last one we went on, right?
Yes, the one where the Mustang
track that doesn't have the garages. Yeah, I am not.
That was really tight.
I don't, especially with how many cars are in Lemons. I don't like turn one because you can't see.
Right.
And there's inevitably a person that's just like.
That person might have been us because we were driving the Spider Stang with the what is it called, the sheet steel window.
Yeah, I drove the C team car on that track too. It was the first time I drove that car.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Well, Amanda, we've got some iRacing to do
We
shortly.
do. We have some iRacing practice. First team practice.
That's right.
Yeah.
You can see the debut of the paint on my car.
Oh, new paint.
Yeah.
Which I'm not
Somebody's
asking.
been working.
I'm not asking what the paint is, but which car?
Helped paint my car, so you can see the
Which type of car?
it's the E36.
Oh.
It just looks more like what it should, not the terrible job I did try to paint it last time.
Yeah.
It's really cool. I'm excited.
Awesome. All right. Well, let's go log in and we will go do some iRacing. Thank you for
All right.
coming on, Amanda.
All right.
Thanks a lot. Good to see you guys.
Thanks. Bye-bye.
Bye. See you, Amanda. Thank you so
Bye.
much. Bye.
Bye.
Dominating with Dawson.
All right, Ben, you're at a track. You're either at an HPD event or maybe at a endurance racing event. And invariably, there are, let's call them mistakes. If they get bad, they can be called accidents. You don't want that to happen, but if you're pushing yourself, if you're pushing
it's a question of when. If you're driving and tracking long enough, you're going to go off the track at some point, or something bad is going to happen to you.
Yeah, it's a win for sure. And then it's a question of how much of a win. So what do you think? What do you try to do when things aren't going according to plan and you may be venturing out off the track or slightly off the track or spinning or?
Right. Hopefully, if you've been doing your homework up to the point when the bad thing happens to you, you've already got a pretty good idea that it was going to happen and that it's happening, and hopefully you've got a good idea of what you plan to do when it's happening. But things you can do to prepare for that if you're doing HPDE time before you're racing, or if this is something that happens during HPDE, drive off the normal line sometimes. Take a session where you say, I'm going to give up looking at my lap time of the session. I'm just going to drive the wackiest line through these corners as I can, and driving weird angles through corners will kind of give you an idea of what it feels like to be in an upset condition and not the right place on the track. And then, practice being offline and getting back onto the normal line. I think those are good exercises to prepare you for going off. But eventually, you're gonna spin or go off. And what you want to do is you'll always hear people talk about putting both feet in if you're driving a car that has a clutch.
Right.
You want to re-engage the clutch immediately and put your feet on the brake. The idea is you want to disengage the drive line so that it's not doing anything else with the car. And hopefully, all you're doing is relying on the brakes to stop the tires in the car.
Right. And then
if you want to come to a stop with both feet still planted, so the clutch still disengaged and the brakes on while you kind of look around. Hopefully you come to a stop and then you want to look around and see that you can see a corner work, or at least roll to an angle where you can see the next corner station so that they can signal you when it's okay to re-enter the track.
All right, what if you just go just a little bit off and you're let's say you got two tires off and how would you approach coming back on? Do you still want to come to a stop, or is there something you need to worry about? Or
Absolutely not. If you put two wheels on, you are still racing. I mean, some series you're in trouble for, and you're going to come in like lemons. You're going to have to come. Actually, I think there's a dispute about whether two wheels off gets you. I got a flag for going two wheels off. But anyway, it doesn't matter. If you screw up bad enough, even a little bit, you're likely to have to come and talk about it in lemons. But in general, it's not a total loss of control. You're still in the flow of traffic if it happens. Nobody's going to see you put two wheels off and then squeeze over next to you and go like, that guy put two wheels off, so screw it. He's got to ride the whole straightaway with two wheels off. So everybody's going to kind of look out for you a little bit.
Well, the reason I asked was that when I was out at Laguna in January, I put two wheels off in a spot, and then to come back, it was almost like going up a curb.
Oh yeah, the curb drop offs, the drop offs at Laguna are kind of crazy. But
so
in general, if it's a level track, you can just come back on.
Yeah, well, I was trying to figure out, I ended up just staying out. I was off to the right it was off turn 2, and I was off there, and instead of trying to push it through I could see that in a little bit ahead. If I just stayed there, it would almost started to flatten out again, and then I didn't have a transition, so I just stayed there because I knew if I tried to come back in, then bad things were going to happen.
Yeah. There's plenty of places to just knock a oil pan and clean it half at Laguna Seca.
Yep.
So if you feel a track safety issue between you and the car, if you don't feel like it's safe to re-enter because it's going to be a crasher for someone on the car, definitely stay off. It's safe to re-enter.
So I think one of the things I see is when people either try to save something they shouldn't try to save, or try to save something that they're not able to save. and that's when bad days happen. So is there a way to tell, or is there a way that you approach saving a car that perhaps could be helpful?
Gosh, at least from my standpoint, you needed to have had a 3/4-ton Chevrolet pickup truck with a retired dirt track racing engine in it and 3 on the floor. And you had to have been driving down dirt roads in Alabama going about 100 miles an hour on wet dirt roads and then having to catch it and not die. That's how I learned.
That's a good way.
Everybody does.
It's cheap track time then.
It was. So that, I mean, everybody has to develop their butt dyno in a certain way. But I mean, at least that was my teenage experience, where we're starting to learn how to catch a slide and realizing like, oh, I'm in trouble. Realizing like, hey, if I don't get this, I'm going to die out here. So it was kind of dire, but yeah, we were screwing around, doing stuff that could have killed us on dirt roads. That's kind of how I picked up early car control stuff. But yeah, I mean, when you feel an upset condition coming, when you watch a video of a really good race car driver, go watch go to YouTube right now and search Sandro, Sandro, last name Espinosa, Espinosa. He's a BMW racer, and the guy just throws huge steering lock everywhere. He's just wild loose all the time. But that guy never really in upset condition because he's driving the car upset all the time. But I mean, when you watch a really good race car driver driving, you see them whip their hands back and forth on the wheel. That's something that they felt coming through their butt. They're like, oh, here comes something. I'm gonna whip the wheel back and forth, and I'm gonna catch it before it becomes a problem. Every time you see somebody, sawing at the wheel, that's a wreck that they're not letting happen. Does that make sense?
Yep, it does.
So that's something that they felt coming up through the butt dyno, like, this thing's gonna, it's gonna oversteer on me. It's gonna understeer. I feel this understeer coming, so I'm gonna make a correction now.
Yep.
So a lot of good race driving is just being proactive and having a good sense for what's coming. Because a lot of times it's like, hey, I'm gonna try for another couple miles an hour through here, and if it doesn't work, here's what's likely to happen. And then sometimes you get it, sometimes you go through it like, boop, boop, boop. Gotta kind of catch it and do some fast jazz and deal with it.
Yep, and if at least for me, if it's one of those where I know I don't have it, or I know I'm not going to be able to get it, I'd err on the side of, just bail on it and don't try to save it, and just kind of do the 2 feet in and try not to make it any worse. Because if you try to catch it and you don't, you can often get yourself double crossed, and then
sure, yeah. I mean, and discretion is always the better part of valor. Because how many among us can wreck a car and just turn around and show up next week with another car? I can't, so I have to be pretty discreet with how much crazy stuff I try to do.
Yeah.
But also I have a pretty well developed butt dyno, so I get to try more stuff than most people do, and I get a chance to fix it. But yeah, if you feel like you're out of your depth, you probably are.
Yeah.
So it is something to work up to. I mean, I've been at it long enough where if I wasn't good at it, I should just be doing something else. So I'm only still here because I'm pretty good at it. So I've got a lot of that stuff sort of as a field, but yeah, I mean, you sort of feel a problem coming. You're like, oh, this is going to require counter steer. The more experience you have, the more quick you are to prescribe a fix for a problem.
All right, so I've got a problem, and I'm starting to spin. What do I do?
If you're starting to spin, you want to throw some counter steer into it, and hopefully you catch it. But once you feel that ass end coming around, once you feel the rear of the vehicle come around,
we'll let the other one go. Don't worry.
All right. So anyway, once you feel like it's too late and you're not going to catch it, that is when you want to go ahead and get on the brake and re-engage the clutch pedal just to disengage the drive line. So then you're just going to have to kind of wait and see where you come in. If you have your wits about you, you're smart, you can kind of try to, as you're spinning, sort of kind of keep up with the spin so that your wheels aren't, so that your front wheels aren't likely to dig in the grass and flip you over. So you can definitely actively kind of steer with the spin as it's happening, sort of just to keep the tires going. Once the spin's happening, keep the tires going with the direction the spin is. Hopefully you're going to come to a stop. But there is some proactive driving stuff you can do once you're in the spin that could maybe keep you on the tires and not on your lid. But yeah, in general, you just want to be calm and ride it out. Hopefully you're wearing a helmet and maybe you got a cage, so it's probably not the end of the world. You're just going to look like a dumbbell.
Yeah. Is there any difference in what you do when you're driving a front wheel drive or rear wheel drive, or is it all the steering wheel that is really doing it?
At least in my mind, by the time the bad stuff is happening, you're just relying on the brakes, which is in any car you're relying on mostly the front brakes, because every car's got bigger front brakes than rears pretty much. But for the most part, once the spin is happening, you're just at the mercy of the brakes and the condition of whatever you're spinning through.
All right, we've
So
got to.
nothing springs to mind as far as trying to do something different in the front wheel drive to catch it.
All right.
Did you have something in mind?
Yeah. Well, no. I was going to say we've gotten to a point where it's over. It's going to be a big hit.
Right.
What do you do?
I'm guilty. I've only had a couple of big hits, but I'm definitely what you want to do. What the right thing to do is go search a video of Danica Patrick crash, maybe Danica Patrick NASCAR crash. But she has a perfect method. Like she definitely, I've watched her wreck several times in NASCAR, and she would see the wreck coming and realize it's the point of no catching it, and she just hook your hands in the shoulder harnesses of your whole belt set.
Right.
Let go of the wheel because the wheel can really mess your hands up. Once the wheel starts spinning out of your control, the wheel is spinning back and forth. You mess your hands up. Everybody says you can break your thumbs. I've never heard that actually happen, but you're not going to do anything helpful by holding the wheel. So the best thing you do is brace yourself for the impact that's coming. So a great thing to do is just grab onto your shoulder harnesses as much as you can and just hope for the best.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Well, your thumbs may or may not be able to do anything, but they're definitely not going to stop the wheel if it wants to go if you're hitting something. So you're not doing anything.
Yeah. Once you hit something and whatever you hit is working the steering rack, your thumbs don't need to be in there. But I think I'm trying to think back to the big hit. I went to somebody's diff juice at A&B at the big sweeper in the rain. And, I was trying to catch it. I had the biggest save one way, the biggest save that way, the biggest save back that way. And by the time I finally thought I caught it, I guess maybe I caught it with the wheel. The wheel just one more rotation. But I thought when I caught it, it just went right to the wall. So, but I think I'm pretty guilty. I think I fought it all the way to the wall. Because the whole time I'm thinking, I'm buying a race car. So I'm sure my cheap ass was just fighting it the whole way.
Well,
but
sometimes you don't know.
We did. They were like, I was like, oh man, I called them on the radio and told them what's happening. They were like, hey, try to start up. I was like, what are you talking about? I ran it so hard. I was like, started back up, drove it back around, left it back around the pits, and we were back racing in an hour. But I was really like, oh man, I definitely just purchased a race car that's inoperable.
Well, that's not the goal. So just in case, take care of yourself and try to save what you can save, and then hopefully bad things don't happen.
Yeah. It doesn't happen a lot. If you're pretty good, it doesn't happen a lot.
Yeah. Well, if you're new and you're conservative, prudently, it shouldn't happen at all.
Yeah. I mean, let's do a quick review. If you're new, you're going to stay on the racing line, and everybody's going to work their way around you, and you're going to be staying out of trouble. And you're not going to be doing stuff that puts you or your car or your team's car, the car everybody has to drive on your team. You're not going to be doing things to put those at risk, right?
Right. I mean, you should not be exploring your limits when you're new.
Yeah, and I mean, so.
Well, not your limit. You shouldn't be the car's limit. Your limit is different.
Also, in general, you should have figured out how to drive like that at the test day, because learning how to get there, learning how to get to the limit during the endurance racing isn't a good idea.
No.
In general, you shouldn't be treading all over the limit during an endurance race either, right?
Nope. There should always be a little headroom there because you got to make the car finish.
That's right.
That's right. All right, sir. That's enough of the bad stuff. We'll move on to the good stuff next week. Thank you.
All right.
Thank you for listening to the podcast. Please subscribe at your favorite podcast source. If you have any questions or topics you'd like for us to cover, please feel free to let us know at garageheroesintraining.com or in Gmail at garageheroesintraining@gmail.com. And if you want to follow along and see how we're doing, Instagram's great, and Facebook, both of them, Garage Heroes in Training. If you'd like to really help us out, it would be awesome if you could leave a review and a rating on your podcast app of choice. We'd like to thank our guest, Amanda Tully. Hopefully she'll have another year as good as last year, but that's going to be really hard to do since she only lost to one team all year. And we hope to see you out there racing with us as soon as everybody's allowed to be out there racing too. Thanks, everybody.
Bye.
Job I did try to paint it last time. It's really cool. I'm excited.
Awesome. All right. Well, let's go log in and we will go do some iRacing. Thank you for
All right.
coming on, Amanda.
All right.
Thanks a lot. Good to see you guys.
Thanks. Bye-bye.
Bye. See you, Amanda. Thank you so
Bye.
much. Bye.
Bye.
Alrighty. All right. Thank you for listening to the podcast. Please subscribe at your favorite podcast source. If you have any questions or topics you'd like for us to cover, please feel free to let us know at garageheroesintraining.com or in Gmail at garageheroesintraining@gmail.com. And if you want to follow along and see how we're doing, Instagram's great, and Facebook, both of them, Garage Heroes in Training. If you'd like to really help us out, it would be awesome if you could leave a review and a rating on your podcast app of choice. We'd like to thank our guest, Amanda Tully. Hopefully she'll have another year as good as last year, but that's going to be really hard to do since she only lost to one team all year. And we hope to see you out there racing with us as soon as everybody's allowed to be out there racing too. Thanks, everybody.
Bye.
Any of you gonna do the practice thing tonight?
Maybe. We're thinking about it. Just be stupid and go have fun. We've got Brad's actually on the sim right now. So
Yeah, that's what I'm doing when we're done.
yeah. What time's that start?
It starts at 9.
Oh, we'll be done. Unless you're going to talk like mental, which I don't know anybody who can talk like
No,
mental.
I don't have a lot of time. I don't talk that much.
I'm looking at the thing when we're like getting close to wrapping up, and I'm like, okay, we're probably like an hour 15 in because he talks a lot, and he was
I'm good for like a half an hour, and then I'm done.
he was 2:45, and we were just getting to the end. I was like, okay, we went 3 hours. So, but it's mental.
No.
You know that's going to happen.
Yeah, I wrecked his car in the race.
Oh, we saw that. That was hilarious.
He like slowed down so much, so I tried to like swerve to get away from him, and
I saw it. Well, that's what happened to me and Wakeman on the first turn. He's like, Bill, and I'm like, are you saying that was me? He's like, well, you hit me. I said, well, you hit the brakes at like the 5 marker. I'm like,
yeah, he just slowed down. I was like, whoa.
I'm like, I understand the whole slow in, fast out, but I still want to be moving when I get to the apex. I don't want to be parked here.
No, he and I don't brake very deep at all, and he was, but I mean, he had how much to drink?
My wonderful bride, she might as well be Amish. She's awesome, but we do this every single time. It's like, can you start at like quarter of? And she's like, oh, no problem. Never, ever.
Hello.
Hello.
Hi.
Are you good to go?
I'm tired. What a day.
We were working on the cars.
Yes.
All right, let's try and get Amanda out of here, okay?
Me too.
How are you doing, Amanda?
I'm doing good.
Yeah. Homebound and
Yeah, I don't leave my house.
no.
Nope.
Well, you're leaving to work on the cars.
No, I still don't leave my house. My cars are downstairs.
Oh.
Yes, we're the weird people who work on cars that aren't at our house.
Yeah.
I have a 900 square foot garage that's under my house.
Oh, nice.
So I can fit 3 cars in there. So.
And you do.
I do. I don't have 3 doors. I have those dolly things. So
Oh,
you
just
can slide.
waddle them around.
Yeah. You can push one of them into the corner.
Yeah. That's the things that we have, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Those things are good. Unless there's like the smallest pebble ever in front of the wheel. Then they don't work.
Like the super e-brake of a pea.
Yeah, it's like this little tiny piece of dust, and it's like,
Oh.
Yep.
yeah.